You searched the most obscure listings deep inside the arts and entertainment section of your local independent weekly until you found the radio highlights section in very small print. You circled it with a red Sharpie permanent marker and magnetized the clipping to the front of your refrigerator door. You marked your calendar, you declined party invitations, you bought an answering machine and unplugged the phone. And now it's time. It's the NeoRadio Hour.
From River Falls, Wisconsin, I'm Peter Donalds.
And from San Francisco, California, this is Frank Skillman.
It's the NeoRadio Hour, home of independent writers, musicians, and home tapers.
The folk artists of the electronic age.
We've got our usual eclectic mix
of scenes, stories, soundscapes. Some neo bits from our own studios.
Episode 2 of The Information Age.
The caustic yet affable
social commentator at large,
Mr. Sunshine.
On the NeoRadio Hour, you say?
Slow-mo boil always says.
Oh, well.
It's the NeoRadio Hour. Independent audio art.
Let me tell you about my first day at school in Kansas. I was sitting in math class, kind of toward the back. Mr. Nivens, he's rambling on about postulates, when all of a sudden, some kid comes busting into the classroom like he was Bruce Lee. And get this. He hurls a Chinese throwing star at the guy sitting directly in front of me. It stuck right into his forehead. Yeah, Kung Fu Junior High. In Kansas, that ninja stuff was so big. It was so big, they had to hire a special security team to control the kids. My school made headlines when two chicks nunchucked each other into comas. I got some of Kansas in me. I got some of Kansas in me. I'm kind of hoping that it could be removed. Perhaps even, surgically.
NeoRadio Hour.
It happened in Monterey.
Dad stood in the doorway to the kitchen, listening to a Sinatra song scratch off his 45 player. Around him, the wallpaper peeled, the couch listed on broken legs. A coat hanger poked out of one of the rabbit ears on top of the TV. But he was grooving. Under the influence of Frank, he hung loose, snapped his fingers, closed his eyes, and breathed. This was my introduction to the cult of Frank. Now, I'm not talking about the Bobby Soxer mania that surrounded Frank in his early days, nor is it at all like the Elvis thing. The Frankites are not card-carrying, button-wearing club members. Their devotion isn't expressed on bus tours and fan rallies. It doesn't shout. It oozes.
How it longed for that sweetheart that I left in old Monterey.
At the bar, fighting back his tears. He used to drink whiskey, but now it's wine and 20-cent beer. And his wife told me today, tonight she's telling him goodbye. Must be the high cost of living, and the cost of living too high. Well, he was everybody's friend when he had a buck. But nobody knows him since he's down on his luck. So he sits there all alone, trying to figure out why. Was it the high cost of living, or the cost of living too high? Now he remembers when they listened to every word he said. Oh, but he don't feel like talking much, since he ain't got that bread. Looks into his glass, that now had run dry, and then he glances at the clock, out the corner of his eye. As he headed for the door, he slowly turns away goodbye. Severed the high cost of living, boys, just the cost of living too high.
That was Bob and Bobby, a couple of guys I know from South Jersey, before Bob held Bobby off the balcony of the motel down in L.A. I don't know, I think it had something to do with a girl walking in the room, and they were a couple of pineys from Jersey, what can I tell you?
Angela! Angela! Come on, honey, you can...
Hey! What are you doing here?
You're
making me crazy.
I'm here to see Angela.
You're not allowed to see my daughter anymore. Get your little butt
to see
out of my
Angela.
house. You understand me?
Hey,
out of here.
Take your hands
Don't
off
you-
me. Hey, you son of a bitch, I'll take you
Don't
down,
you talk
man.
to me that way.
I'll go right through you, man.
You said you were going to take care of my daughter.
I took care of your daughter.
And now where is my...
She's upstairs
I'll
waiting
tell
for
you,
me. That's where she is.
She's upstairs
I gotta go
crying
see her.
is what she is.
I'm gonna take care of that. I always
I've had
take
it
care
with
of
you
this.
punks, every single last goddamn one of you.
I'm tired of talking to you.
You get out of my house right now. I've worked hard all my life to take care of this family.
Hey, man, I've heard it all before.
To take care of my little
I've heard
girl.
it from you. I've heard it from Angela.
And I
your
didn't,
little girl.
I didn't raise her to I didn't raise her to
Hey,
be
man,
with
the
you.
meter's running. That's all I got to say.
I
I'm here
didn't
to
raise
take...
her to grow up and to be with someone like you. I took
What do you
care
mean
of
by
my
someone
daughter.
like me? What do you mean? How did you raise her?
Get
To
out
be
of
with
my
who?
house. I
To
swear
be
to
with
God,
who?
I know my
Who?
old man. I
Who?
can take you still.
Hey, man, don't
I'll
get in
take
my
you
way.
down, boy.
You're acting crazy now.
I'm
Get
not
out
gonna
of...
listen to
You're
this no
acting
more.
crazy. Get out of my way.
She's my daughter, goddammit.
Angela!
She's my daughter.
Angela!
Sugar beaches, hot sugar beaches, hot sugar beaches,
Depolarized neurons.
hot sugar beaches, hot sugar beaches, sugar beaches, sugar beaches,
Your libido, your libido, your libido, your libido, your libido, your libido, your libido.
Take a walk down memory lane and thrill to dancing hemoglobin fountains, the Lupo-Lobe-Cranial Carnival,
and trained endorphin reticulum rings.
Yes! Now you too can take a dream vacation in the brain forest.
Just take the nearest capillary. Follow the path of least resistance.
And imagine the diamond sands tinkling overhead. You'll be suddenly shapelier, starting with a cerebral spanking in the brain forest.
The holidays, the holidays, the holidays, the holidays are just beginning.
The Screamin' Popeyes on the NeoRadio Hour. And now, from the NeoRadio Hour studios in River Falls, Wisconsin, Episode 2 of the Information Age.
Day 15. We sometimes trip over the narrow conduits which run east and west. It's tempting to follow one of them in hopes of finding nearby shelter, sustenance, and camaraderie. But such an adventure would run the risk of permanently jeopardizing the expedition. We've made good headway, though Smith is still contaminated from the spill 3 days past.
The Holocaust never happened. Jews control Hollywood. Seinfeld scripts are coded messages to an Israeli building contractor in East Jerusalem. Ask Norm Abram. He's in on it.
Shut
what,
up!
You think these houses go up by themselves? And why do they call them settlements?
Smith, come
They're
here.
not coming in by wagon train, you know. My
Smith,
parents
come
live in
here.
a two-bedroom settlement in Florida, right, with a pool, tennis court,
Shut
and
up,
HBO.
Smith. Shut up, Smith. Shut up and help me. Hold this wrench tight. I'm going to loosen the bolt.
Why?
The contamination isn't wearing off by itself. You're not getting any better.
So?
So I can't stand it anymore. Now, this pipe leads in the opposite direction from the one that contaminated you. If we can expose you to this information, it might neutralize the information you got in the accident.
Okay, whatever.
Okay, here goes.
Our most effective strategy will be guided by that principle.
I didn't feel anything.
The information bounced right off of you, but how? Why? I mean, wait, of course, that's it. But you were contaminated 3 days ago. We're closer to the source by 3 days.
Closer to the source? What difference does that make?
We're closer to the free flow of information. The legend must be true. A place where information flows freely without pipes or couplings, without maintenance crews or spokespersons, without Sunday morning panel shows or those computer clip art pamphlets they hand out at protest marches.
What are you talking about?
Don't you see? The information we get from this pipe, closer to the source, is more inclusive, less likely of contamination.
That's good, isn't it?
Yes. No. Not for our purposes. You see, you've been contaminated by extreme, irrationally constructed bits of rhetoric. All the thoughtful, carefully reasoned information in the world wouldn't cure you.
Yeah, well, you're a fag.
You see, we've got to go back.
Back? That's 3 days back and another 3 days back here. That's 6 days lost.
Don't you see? It's your only hope. Until you're exposed to information extreme enough to neutralize the contaminant, you'll continue to believe and express these ridiculous notions.
Did the United Nations put you up to this?
Let's go. There's no time to waste.
Nah, I'm not going. I've had enough of this expedition anyway. I'm following the next pipeline east. Goodbye, Winston.
Smith! No! Smith! Smith!
Goodbye, Winston!
Smith!
In a small town called Milford, in upstate Pennsylvania, there's a guy by the name of Ron Lance. The people in the neighborhood call him the man in the basement. suppressing a sneeze, a cough, and controlling my flatulence. Why did I eat those things today? I sat crouched in the corner of the museum. The visitors had left hours ago, and there hadn't been a guard by for 15 minutes or so. I had to remain silent. The ancient manuscript of Cagliostro was in my hands, and if I could read it aloud before the ancient statuary, I too could gain the powers of the Magus. It's the NeoRadio Hour.
Every night, he would turn to me. See, I would sit right next to him. And he would ask me 2 questions. Young lady, what did you learn in school today? And who would you rather have dinner with? Me or a rabbit? Now, I'll tell you, at 8 years old, there really wasn't any contest between a towering father figure with a 5 o'clock shadow and an endearing, furry little creature. But I had learned enough to know it sounded like a trick question to me. So I hesitated before answering thoughtfully. You, Daddy. You. It would always be you, Daddy. And he smiled. You know, I guess that's when it started. All the years of incantations. Repeating those words over and over. Trying to conjure up his love. Trying to be enough, bigger than enough. Change from a kid in glasses into a fair-haired beauty like a magical act. And with a little blind luck, you know, I nearly pulled it off. At 18, hey, he took me out to dinner in a new dress and showed me off to his friends. And his golfing buddies pulled him aside and said, God, she's a gorgeous girl. Sam, you are a lucky man. He was mesmerized. I was the apple of my father's eye. Until I longed for my own life, until I caught sight of another. And I gave away that leather jacket he bought me to a new boyfriend. And you know, I stood him up and had a stand of my own instead just to prove a point. And over Swordfish, when he told me I was a lazy, ungrateful bum, I said, you know, you can go to hell and I don't want to have dinner with you again. And his 2 hearts broke. So broke the spell. Years later, when he came to visit, we dined in Tiburon by the bay. And this time when he asked me to stay with him in his hotel room and keep him company, I did not hesitate. I said no. And this time when he smiled, he said he didn't care because there were other fish in the sea. And on the long ride home, for the first time I remembered how much I had always hated that man's hands, and his teeth, and his breath, and the smell of cherry tobacco on his sheets. Every time I had knelt down obediently to kiss him goodnight, and I said, you, Daddy, you. You are the cutest daddy in the whole world. Mom says he takes 3 naps a day now. Those of his friends that are still around say he does not look well. He doesn't talk much anymore, and his hands shake, and he can't stand the sight of anything that upsets him because he feels like his legs are going to give way. And the doctor diagnosed the skin condition as pre-cancer. And you know, I keep meaning to buy this plane ticket because I know he is sitting there waiting for me to reappear. But I can no longer imagine what to say to this man. So I buy this greeting card and I write, "Dear Dad, who would you rather have dinner with, really? Me or a rabbit? Love, A."
I come through town. I brung a bale of cotton. I'd worked the whole year round. I left my team in the wagon yard and got me a bottle of gin. Went to see them electric lights and watch cars come in. Come on, you old hayseed, and have a drink, it's fine. Well, I must have bought a dozen drinks and hit my pocketbook hard. I wish I'd have got me a half a pint and stayed in the wagon yard. Sure to make it hot. I went out on a party and I left the Pacifica. When I woke up, that gang had gone and left me all of it. Now listen, all you farmers, I'm here to talk good sense. If you want to see them electric lights, just look right over the fence. Don't buggy with them city ducks, you'll find her slick and hard. Go and get you a half a pint and stay in the wagon yard.
Show your face in here.
Before the day is done, you will lick my boot.
Ah! Then prepare to die!
It's the NeoRadio Hour.
Part 2 of The Cult of Frank. Now, we all know that Frank is cool, and we give him his due. After all, James Brown covered That's Life. Sid Vicious did My Way. But I came across a place that was a temple of the cult of Frank. It was in Philadelphia, down on 13th Street, between Walnut and Locust, where there was a lively strip of joints that catered to the gangsters, gays, and hipsters of Center City. I was in the neighborhood performing with my first professional band. We were worshippers of the Rolling Stones. At a place called the Living Room, where we played the breaks for the headliners. During our own breaks, we'd grab a window booth at the all-night Dewey's for coffee and cigs, and watch the action on the street. While observing the parodiers of the promenade, I noticed that every other guy who went in and out of an alley corner called the Sinatra Room wore a suavely cocked tweed hat and carried a trench coat draped across his shoulders. At our next intermission, I bopped over to check out the scene. I was too young to enter the shrine, but as people went in and out, I could sneak a peek. The place was the size of your typical neighborhood tap room, and though dimly lit, I could see that all around the joint were pictures of Frank. Frank with the owner, Frank with some dolls, Frank with the mayor, Frank with the mob. The clock was permanently set at 2:45. The jukebox played nothing but Frank, and at the bar and tables, Frankites belted down shots, nodding and grooving under the spell of Francis A. Sliding in through the door, close to the wall, bumping my head, ouch, on a picture of Vinny's Aunt Till with Frank in Vegas, I entered the temple. At a table, beneath a signed poster from Pal Joey, 4 guys in Frank attire sang along with the jukebox. As one of the guys spread his arms and sung, his trench coat slipped from his shoulder to the floor. As he turned and bent to retrieve it, he saw me and motioned to a big chichone who stood at the end of the bar, with a shot in one hand and a babe in the other. Well, the big one sauntered over to me and told me, "No hippies allowed. Hit the bricks, kid." I stood on the noisy corner, watching the door slam, a witness to the temple of the cult of Frank.
That just sent me right out of my seat.
Looking like me, but not being me. Hey, if you want my opinion, I think it's Ron... Wait! Ron Terrio, who was in the TV series... You're not turning it off, are you? Who was in the TV series, Welcome Back, Carter, has heard of this person that just looks like him, and because he probably decided to go to... Probably he decided when the show went off and Travolta became famous, he probably became a porno star or something, or he went to the Navy or deserted the Navy, or the possibility of there's just one thing. The possibility of Colonel Gaddafi making the pornography, or that Terrio and Shoemaker is Gaddafi in one, and that he smuggled himself to Lebanon, and I think that it's a gigantic cover-up, because I looked at his wife on TV. She looked Philadelphian, not Arabian, and the Navy deserter was from Philadelphia. I think Gaddafi is putting on a big front, and I think Gaddafi is acting like he don't know how to speak English. I think he knows how to speak perfect English. And I'll tell you something else. As I was saying, when I lost...
Well, you've been trying to get ahead, but you're losing ground. You've been talking about leaving town. Well, hold on, brother. Good things are coming to you. Well, you said it yourself, you got a lot on the ball. You'll bounce back each time you fall. If you hold on, brother, good things are coming to you. Well, the man, he says there ain't no work. Well, that means there ain't no pay. But don't give up, tomorrow just might be your lucky day. Well, it's a mean old race, and we're all in it. We'll fall way. Well, it's a mean old race. We're all in it. Falling behind, but you still could win. And if you hold on, brother, good things are coming to you. Hold on, brother. Good things are coming to you. Hold on, brother. Good things are coming to you. Yeah, hold on, brother.
The NeoRadio Hour.
It was on the afternoon of September 23rd, 1752. Lord Skillworth was attending a soiree.
Oh, dear. Spent the entire morning fashioning my cravat. I need a pick-me-up. You there?
Yes, my lord.
A cup of tea. Oh, where was I?
Skillworth.
Dear me. Lord Fenelby. Where did you get that wig? You look like a hedgehog.
You, sir, are a twiddlepoop.
Me, sir?
You, sir.
Indeed, sir.
And a flubberdigullion.
I am unabashed, sir.
Then step over here, and I'll give you a good bashing.
Oh, heavens. What say you to pistols at dawn, Toad?
Rapiers at sunset.
Stones at 20 paces.
Hard muffins across a dinner table.
Booger flicking at an arm's length.
Fisticuffs at my stable.
Oh, fisticuffs, my lord.
Right here, right now, you rapscallion.
My goodness, my lord. You're batting it all. Your buttons have come undone.
Oh, no. Oh.
Well, that's one less dreadful bore. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, my cravat.
Not a finer cravat in the entire empire, my lord.
Splendid bow, Skillworth.
Indeed, most splendid, my lord.
Truly fine.
Oh, exquisite.
Beyond words, my lord.
Listen, if you can't explain yourself now, what are you gonna do when the time comes? When the time comes when you really gotta do some talking. I mean, you got it easy right now. You can drift through life and not have to answer for anything. If you don't like things the way they are, you just get up and go. You have no responsibility. You don't have to contribute. You don't have to do a damn thing but please yourself. But what are you gonna do later? What are you gonna do when it comes time to answer for your actions? There will come a time, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday in this life or the next. What are you gonna do when it's time to answer? What are you going to say?
And now, the caustic yet affable Mr. Sunshine.
You wear clothes that are pleasing to you. You understand the importance of color, how it affects your mood.
What do you think of when I say the words New Age? I'm sure most of us have some New Age artifacts in our lives. A couple of Windham Hill CDs on the shelf, a crystal on a string hanging from the rearview mirror. I'll bet there's someone in your family who, if you checked out their underwear drawer, you'd find subliminal tapes on everything from inner peace to getting that big job promotion.
The image real.
Now, I could label all this evil yuppie paraphernalia, I suppose, and just laugh it off. But that would be too easy. And you know, the truth is, I'm a big fan of the universal consciousness. I do believe that we can materially change the world by understanding our oneness with the continuum. I'm as metaphysical as the next guy.
Relax.
But under the banner of the New Age, every huckster and wannabe is dishing out psychobabble faster than new sandwiches at Carl's Jr.'s. What might have been a spiritual renaissance has been co-opted by a multi-million-dollar industry of weight loss gurus and 1-900 telephone psychics. You know, the ones that are just like friends? Equally annoying is this whole emphasis on individual empowerment, which has a typically American bent to it. You can change your life. You can heal yourself. In other words, pull yourself up by your own damn psychic bootstraps. Those who can afford it can buy into a faith that tells them they deserve exactly what they have. And those with less, or those who suffer, have only themselves to blame. For the NeoRadio Hour, this is Mr. Sunshine.
I love the world the way it is, 'cause
I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like...
This week, excitement in dining takes us to Jake's Deli.
Oh, yeah, now that was a meal. Excellent flambe, Arthur.
Your check, gentlemen.
I'll get that, Jules. No. I need the miles. Jules, I need the miles. Arthur, didn't I tell you before? I need the miles. We're going to visit my sister-in-law. I don't care about your sister-in-law, Jules. I need the miles. Estelle will give me no peace if I don't get her to see that sister of hers. Allow me, I'll get that. Arthur, you can't do this to me.
Jules, relax now. Relax. You're spritzing on the linen there.
But the miles!
Vulnerable by Nancy Buchanan. Just as we all are, he is only a delicate envelope of flesh. Perhaps this knowledge weighs more heavily on him than on many of us who are able to bear our mortality without resorting to an elaborate denial system. For what use are positions of directorship, mammoth stock holdings, 30th floor office suites, private airplanes, limousines, when at any moment that intricate biological machine might cease to function? Out of all those bundles of sinew and nerves, just one valve, only one artery, a slip in the bathtub, an oily slick on a damp highway. The personal pain of his fragility is the root cause not only of his problems, but of ours. How else can one explain his avoidance of humanity itself? Of simple human kindness, of the fact of connection. It is this imbalance in his value system that has led to our present oppressive condition. Help to heal him. Help yourself. Help us all. When next you encounter an executive, remind him kindly and gently that he is going to die.
in our romance, 'cause we feel it. With love under the stars, while everybody else is beating the factory, beating the factory, beating the factory, beating the factory. Beating the factory, beating the factory, beating the factory.
The broadcast of the NeoRadio Hour is made possible in part by a grant from Smelbach and Fotzen.
Hey, Fotzen, pull my finger. Oh, you got me again.
The Neo Radio Hour is written and produced by Peter Donalds and Frank Skillman. Contributing artists this week:
Screamin' Popeyes, Asbestos Removal Crew, San Francisco Tycho, Bobby Hartnagel and Bobby Bernard, Frank Sinatra, the Joseph A. Furco String Band, Donnie Tamblin, Amanda Krugliak, Jack Perrin, Leon Rosen, Beyond, the Pitbull String Band. I think I got everybody.
Just in case you don't realize this, most of what you just heard on the show comes to us from independent artists. They mail us tapes and on cassette or DAT and or CD, and we hope that you would contribute your work as a writer, artist, musician, actor. That'll do it for this week. From River Falls, Wisconsin,
and high atop the Seal Club in San Francisco, California,
it's the NeoRadio Hour,
home of independent audio art.
Thanks for listening. I hope you taped it.
這個憂鬱晚上，魔鬼於黑暗中，伴着我看世界，給我千個妄想，多麼痛楚，多麼痛快，慾望快接近我，我要我冷傲，我要你所愛，我要這世上一切幻覺，我要我憤怒，我要你所愛，富有與美麗一切盡接受。Give me一切瞬間變舊，彷彿只有記憶，讓寂寞告訴我，黑暗中我跌倒。